Auckland's Mayor Phil Goff has undergone a life-saving procedure over the weekend after chest pains revealed he had 2 blocked arteries. Mr Goff, who's now recovering in Auckland's Middlemore Hospital after angioplasty, says doctors told him the outcome could have been much worse, potentially dreadful, if he hadn't sought medical attention on Saturday morning.
I had one 90% blockage that then became 100% blockage, which caused the incident, and then the other was the more serious one was 75% blocked. If that had a block, then I wouldn't be talking to you now.
No, you wouldn't. So when you say the incident, what happened?
We've got a genetic history in our family of heart disease, which is clogging up of the arteries. So I just had an uncle coming to see me. He's in his 80s now. He was a marathon runner. Did 15, 20 miles a night, and he had a triple bypass because it was a genetic thing in the family on that side. And my brother died 10 years ago, 11 years ago, aged 58. So there was always a risk of that in the family. Families otherwise has quite good longevity. My dad passed away last year at 96, so if I've got those genes, I'll be doing well. But I had been taking statin medication anyway, but I was fortunate. I was just back from a government-sponsored trip to Hong Kong. If it happened on the plane, I might have been in a little bit more difficulty. And Friday night, I had a tightening of the chest and felt like I had indigestion, and I slept very badly that night and went into East Care out in Pakuranga on Saturday morning. It was the only place that's 24 hours open, non-hospital. They did an ECG on me and just rang an ambulance and took me straight up, and an hour later I was lying on my back with a piece of wire stuck up my artery and into my heart, thinking there are a whole lot of better ways to spend this weekend than this.
Although it was, boy, oh boy, it was good that you were there. And well, let's use this as a public health message. You have a family history in parts of the family, and you felt something going on in your chest. So, by golly, you did the right thing seeking some medical attention, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was kind of reluctant to go up on the Friday night. My wife and daughter said to me, "Hey, Dad, why don't you go up and get that checked out?" And I said, "Look, it's probably nothing. I've just come back from a long flight. That's probably a factor in it. I'll see how the night goes and get it checked out in the morning." Now, as it happened, that didn't cause me any real harm. But anybody that has pains in the chest, and they're not severe pain. Well,
No.
They certainly weren't in my case. But a tightening of your breath, aches in your shoulder or your arm, those are generally symptoms, and you need to check it out. And look, I talked to the surgeon this morning and he said, "You should have come in straight away." And I said, "Well, look, I know you guys are busy. I kind of didn't want to come in on the off chance it might have been indigestion. I would have felt pretty bloody foolish." He said, "Don't worry about that. If you've got the symptoms, we're always pleased that people come in early and check it out. You were lucky. Had it gone another way, you might not be here to talk to me about it." So it is quite important. And look, I want to give credit where it's due. We do a lot of bitching, and we do a lot of bitching about those things, don't we, in life, as Kiwis? But people say public health system. When you've got an acute problem in New Zealand, you get immediate admission. You get top quality care from a fantastic multicultural staff here in Auckland, very professional, very caring, points out of 100, 99.9. They've been fantastic. And, we should be grateful that we have a system in this country that doesn't ask to see your private medical insurance, which I don't have any of, doesn't ask you where you come from in society. Wherever you come from, they treat you equally to the very best standard, and that is something. We should be a glass half full society, not a glass half empty. That's something to rejoice about our system.
I'm delighted to talk to you, but haven't you been told to rest?
Yeah, just about everybody on Facebook has given me that message.
Right.
My wife, the doctors. I'm not very good at resting. I explained to them that you know, if I don't have a challenge and I don't have an issue, I get stressed about that. So
Okay. Well,
I was on a teleconference at 8 o'clock this morning with Vector, you know, talking about the power outage in Auckland, which has been a serious problem for us. So no, I'm fine. I'm being sensible about it.
I hate to violate my own request of you to take it easy, but whilst you're mentioning the power outages, is it good enough that it's going to go over a week for some people?
No, it's certainly not good enough, and I say that without reflection on, you know, the incredibly hard work that's going in from a whole lot of the people working on the lines and our CD people. You know, we visited 5,000 homes over the weekend just to check how people were, to provide water, to provide portaloos, to offer assistance in any way we could. And I know that the Vector's pulled in linesmen from all over the North Island. But there are some real problems out there. You know, we never said this was a cyclone, but actually it hit Auckland much worse than any of the cyclones that we had earlier this year. We dodged the bullet earlier this year, but we copped winds of up to 215 kilometres an hour. And when you get winds and you get power lines and you get trees, they're not a great combination. You know, I've talked to Vector. I've said, look, you've just got to sit down and look at how you can improve both the predictive nature of these events, how you can get those lines up and running, and how you can communicate to people. And they agreed on each of those 3 points. I know they have been out trimming the trees back. They took 10 trees out on my property earlier this year. I wasn't that happy, but I knew why they had to do it. I know that, you know, if sometimes you can underground, it's safer. The wind doesn't catch an underground line. But, you know, they've gone through all of the arguments with me. It's $2 to $3 billion to underline the remaining half of the lines that aren't underground in Auckland. And even then, you've got problems. The tree roots, if the tree roots will pull the wires out, or if you're trying to underground them, you're wiping out the root feeder systems of trees that might be in the street. So I'm not pretending to them that it's easy, but I am telling them, when people have been, you know, we were without power for 30 hours at home. That's stretching you a little bit. But these people that are still out, you know, there's probably 500 to 1,000 of them at the moment. They've been without power for 6 days. And, you know, I understand the real pressure that's putting on them. So any way that we can improve the system, we've got to adopt some changes, because with climate change, these sort of events may become more regular.
Phil Goff talking to us literally from his hospital bed earlier. I hope he's turned the phone off. Phil, if you're listening, put your phone down. 16 minutes past 6, Mark Middleton, so much feedback on that interview from earlier. The Associate Immigration Minister, Chris Whāwhoi, has been asked to grant an exception to Immigration New Zealand's instructions to deport Wellington man Mark Middleton, the British stepfather, well, British born, he came here when he was 4, of the murdered teenager Carla Cardno, was accused of being in New Zealand unlawfully and now faces deportation after living here for 56 years. National's immigration spokesperson Michael Woodhouse told our producer Bridget Burke a short time ago the minister has the power to do the right thing and is calling on him to do so.
This is not unusual. There were a number of people that arrived from the United Kingdom between the 1950s and the 1970s where their documentation wasn't well recorded, and they didn't realise that until well into their adult life. There is a very simple process, either for the Minister or for Immigration New Zealand, to exercise its discretion and grant Mr Middleton residence, and that's what I think they should do. And the question of whether he should stay just has to be answered right now.
How do you think it got to this stage?
I have no idea, and I'm frankly disappointed that he's been treated in the way that he has. But as I say, I have dealt with cases personally, not quite the same as this, but not too dissimilar, and the outcome was speedy resolution and residence. I should also note that the Labour Party and opposition were very critical of the Australian government for their treatment of New Zealanders under Section 501 of their Immigration Act, calling on the Australian government to show a bit of compassion. Well, this is an opportunity for the Labour government and Mr Whāwhoi to do just that. And if they don't act quickly, I think that would be a very, very grave shame and an indictment on them.
It's Michael Woodhouse talking to our producer Bridget Burke a short time ago.